Hello, everyone. Jamen here on the topic of the Uber strategy. What is the big strategy for achieving, for saving life on Earth? Well, first, I want to point to the topic of the conversation, in which we address goals. What are we trying to achieve? What are we trying to get to as a planet, as a species, as complex life? And that's really a crucial. We have to have the conversation. I think it makes sense to have the conversation about the goal before, or the destination. Where do we want to get to before the conversation of the strategy to get there? And so, assuming we've got a fairly clear picture of the goal. What is our strategy to get there? Okay. So just assuming a very general goal, more or less along the lines of what I talked about in the conversation, a general goal about a radically transformed future of holistic health and wellness for humanity and for the rest of our brother and sister species and ecosystems, and a whole new story for humanity, a whole new ethos, a whole new everything. Anyway, I talk about that all there. Great. What's the big picture strategy to get there, right? And the big picture strategy that I'm proposing, you could sort of think of it as like, I'm going to use sort of two metaphors. One is exponential dominoes. But even to get that kicked off, you have to get a first domino to tumble over that's got enough inertia and momentum to boom, kick over a bigger domino, and so on and so on and so on. So the other one is the concentration of energy and force on that first tiny domino, right? And the analogy I'll make there is of taking a lens that concentrates the sun's rays onto a particular spot and generates quite a bit of heat. So the Uber strategy starts with that, and that concentration is on, now this is a specific Uber strategy I'm going to talk about, but the concentration could be on the Brooklyn singularity as the first tiny domino. But then if you take it further back, there are even tinier dominoes that are essentially invisible, which had to tumble before you could get to the point of the Brooklyn singularity fully manifested or well on its way, let's say. Okay. So to get there and to start concentrating energy, okay, what I would propose, so even preceding the Brooklyn singularity and with a view to getting there, is an intense focus on the conversation and in spreading the meme, the conversation. Let's have the conversation. How are we going to save life on Earth? What are our goals? What's our strategy? How do we start? Right? That's the elephant in the room. So address that with the conversation, including what are the first, second, and third steps. My 1, 2, 3 are very heavy on the Brooklyn singularity. I'm focused on that now more than on a lot of other things, because I think we can get the concentration of focus from people all over the world. There's already a group in Ireland forming, not formed yet, but in the process of forming, to support the Brooklyn singularity, even though they don't know the name of it yet, but they know about Brooklyn. And that's actually going to kick off. And we talked about this extensively at the last block party. That is going to kick off a whole chain of events and smaller movements leading up to a really big one. And among the things that will happen fairly quickly is you'll have lots of people jumping into the conversation, right? The basis for all this. What's this all about, right? What's going on? What is the strategy? What are the goals, right? How are you starting? How can I help? Can I volunteer, right? Have you considered this? Have you thought about that? So that's where this network of conversations can emerge, which is the basis, the foundation for collective superintelligence, which I'll talk about more later, but for now, I'll put a link to a video so that you can check it out and learn about that. But collective superintelligence is, for me, the singularity within the singularity. And that is the point where it all comes together, where humanity crossed with the internet. We're like this secret love child now between these primates and this internet, where that mashup between humans and internet finally goes super intelligent. So that's the singularity at the heart of the singularity that frankly will determine whether we live or die, I believe, because within the larger convergence, there are so many different factors, but collective superintelligence is table stakes for being able to master and ultimately solve all of these holistically, simultaneously, and in time, which creates for a really tough problem to solve. But we can totally do it with collective superintelligence. All right. So more on that in the link I'll put below in the description to this video. But then as collective superintelligence emerges and grows and evolves, which will be exponential, the CSI, collective superintelligence, planetary scale, planetary wide, growing and growing, will be able to learn from the Brooklyn model and implement their own model, right? According to their own values, their own ethos, etc. And so in this way, we feed everyone, and everyone's like, whoa, how did this all happen? Well, look at the, collective superintelligence. Look at those conversations, and then more and more people will join the network of conversations, which at this point is just growing gangbusters. And having ended pandemics and nourished everyone, humanity will have a vastly different experience of what it is to be human and our level of connection with each other. And then we'll just go off from there, basically into the sunset in a very good way. So with one of the probably the single most urgent project we could possibly do right now, which is cooling the planet through planetary scale SRM. That's going to take a tremendous amount of cooperation and collaboration. And so we need people to be well and to be able to stay home when there are pandemics like this one and avert future pandemics by going plant-based, right? And having this immune response where we can go into this mode of staying home, deliver the food, et cetera, and beat the pandemic, end pandemics going forward. And then I point to the topic of the conversation and the goal within that conversation that I talked about. And with that, you have my thoughts on where we should be trying to get to, right? And strategy is just about how to get there. there are other elements to it, of course. But anyway, just kicking off the conversation. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. See you soon.